Hey, how you guys doing? It is me again. They do call me Kraken. We're here in Weatherford, Texas. We are not at our shop. We are here at our day-to-day job, right? Um, Unfortunately, I have to work two full-time jobs. I work a full-time job here at this, I guess what they would call a real job, right? In air quotes, a real job. And then I work a full-time job with my woodworking business at home. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about a little bit here. We're in the middle of this winter storm here in Texas, and in this time, a lot of people just kind of hunker down. They don't go anywhere, and it hurts my eyes. There's snow everywhere, and the sun's beating down on it, and it hurts my eyes. But I'm on my lunch break, and I decided, there's something that's been on my mind. I wanted to come out here and I wanted to talk to you guys about it a little bit here and there. And we have been in business with Liberty Woodworks for going on 16 years now, 15 years. Yeah, going on 15 years now. We started in 2011. It's 2026 right now, so we're going on 16 years. Not quite there, because I believe it was April or May, somewhere in that area, I forget, when we actually started. And our business is it's been a little bit of a rocky road. When we first started it, we owned another business. We owned a tattoo studio. I was a tattoo artist for a very, very long time. And we owned a tattoo studio, and to kind of get some of my work out there, we sold it out of our tattoo studio. So we started Liberty Woodworks as a side business to supplement the tattoo studio. Now, the tattoo studio did quite well. We did pretty good with it. But we wanted to do a little bit better. And so when I had time, I'd build stuff out of leather and wood, and we would sell it out of the studio. And things went pretty good. And then in 2008, we had the recession hit. It didn't really hit Texas, because Texas has a super strong economy. And so it didn't really hit Texas until 2012 or so. But in 2011, we were starting to see a little bit of a slowdown. People a little bit less enthusiastic about spending money on tattoo work, and more concerned about saving money, because the future was uncertain. And so we did start Liberty Leather and Woodworks, and we decided to take my hobby and turn it into some supplemental income. In 2013, our major customer base was out of the North Texas oil field. And they shut down the North Texas oil field. So overnight, we lost over 70% of our customer base, and we never got it back. So shortly after that happened, we kept the business open as long as we could, and then we had to make a decision to shut the business. And so we shut it down. We put everything in storage. And then I took a job going over the road as a truck driver. It's the first time I had worked for anybody in a long time. And I wasn't really happy with that decision. So we started our own trucking company, and we built everything up, and we did really good. And we were in a constant increase from year to year until 2020 came around. And as you guys know, in 2020, COVID hit. And when COVID hit, a lot of factories shut down. And when those factories shut down, it put my trucking company out of business overnight. We couldn't get a load. We couldn't deliver a load. We couldn't make bills. I mean, it was terrible. And so we were wiped out. We pretty much lost everything. About the only thing we did not lose was the house. And so for the next couple of years, or for the next year, I was working the leather and woodworking business to try to get enough money to pay bills, but because things were so uncertain in 2020, sales were pretty bad, and I ended up taking another job driving for somebody else, and in that time I was on a motorcycle and I got run over by a car. So that put us out of business for a couple more years until 2023 we decided to give it a shot again. I give the backstory. I've done it before in one of my other videos to kind of explain a couple of things to you, and that is to say that when I started this journey again in 2023, I was not in a good place, not mentally, not physically. I was having a lot of doubt on whether or not I would ever be able to build anything again, because it does take a little bit of physical strength, it takes a little bit of dexterity, and it takes a little bit of mobility to be able to do the kind of stuff that I do, and I didn't have a lot of steady mobility. I didn't have a lot of strength left, and and we had already lost 2 businesses back to back, so I didn't have a lot of confidence. And when we started this business, I had gone through a really, really, really bad mental time when I gave away, threw away, or sold pretty much every woodworking tool I had, with a couple of exceptions. And those exceptions was just enough for me to get started, but not enough for me to build anything of any really high quality. So I looked for the easiest, simplest builds that I could find, and I looked for the easiest and simplest ways to turn those simple builds into instant cash. And admittedly, that first 6 months or so was not my best work. But you have to keep in mind that I was working with a jigsaw that wouldn't cut a straight line. I was working with a miter saw, a very old miter saw that wouldn't cut a 90-degree angle. And I was working with an underpowered circular saw that could barely cut anything. I didn't have a table saw. I didn't have very many tools at all, to be honest with you. I had a circular sander that was missing a bolt in the pad, so it wobbled. Orbital sander, I guess. And from that, I've built up to where we are today. And this is kind of what I want to talk about a little bit. And I don't want the video to go super long, because I know that most people don't have the attention span to watch it, and they don't have the interest to watch it. See, YouTube and the culture around social media has completely changed. People used to watch social media for educational content and for inspiring things, right? They used to want to see videos that detailed people's struggles so that they could get through their own struggles themselves. But today, the whole thing about social media has changed to idiocy, to be honest with you. I mean, the views that get, go viral are those views that somebody out there acting like an idiot, doing something stupid, rage bait, things that click, with the audience. People want to laugh. People want to, they want to be amused. They want to be entertained. They don't necessarily want to learn. They don't want to experience. They just want something to fill that space, that that minute. And if the video goes over 2 or 3 minutes, then you don't generally get hardly any views. So I don't expect any views out of this, but maybe there's somebody that that this video may speak to, right? And so we're going to do it. We're going to try to keep it relatively short, but this is also to the point, and that is the fact that there was a time when YouTube used to be about educating people. There was a lot of how-to stuff on YouTube, and people, the creators, really worked to put out good quality content that people could really learn and grow from. And there was this sense of integrity with a lot of those YouTube creators, right? They weren't trying to necessarily lead you astray, and they weren't trying necessarily to get views. They more had the attitude of, I have something to teach and I want to teach it, and if you want to watch and if you want to listen, then great, we love to have you, and if you don't, then great, pass it on by, right? And that's one of the things that made the YouTube content so likable, is that it was real, right? It was real content. Today, that has changed. You have a lot of creators on there today, and we're just going to talk about the woodworking community, but I'm sure it applies to pretty much everything, who now all they want are views, right? The view is the most important thing. It's not the content anymore. It's the view. The view is the most important thing, and they will lie, steal, cheat. They'll do anything to get the view, right? Because they get paid for it, right? They're making money off of it. And the more views they get, the more money they get. The more you like their videos, the more you subscribe to their videos, to their content, the more you share their content out, the more you comment on it, the more views they get. So they don't care if it's a negative comment or a positive comment, as long as it's a comment, right? Because it helps the algorithm. It helps push the video forward. And in the bottom line, it's all about that dollar, right? It's all about how much they can get paid for putting videos up. They don't put videos up because they love what they do. They put videos up because they love the paycheck. And that's just what it is, And I know that some people may not agree with it, but it's the truth. It's what it is. And so they'll do anything to get you to click on that video. And unfortunately, we live in an age where we have this instant gratification world that we live in today. I call it the microwave society. You stick it in the microwave, turn it on high, in 2 minutes you've got fucking dinner, right? And that's how they want their whole life to be. You take it, you stick it in the microwave, you turn it on high, and boom, in 2 minutes everything is fucking done. Instant millionaire, right? Instant gratification. And so how do they get you to click, right? They don't want to tell you that if you, become a woodworker, that you're going to have to put years of work into it before you even see a profit, right? They don't want to tell you that. They don't want to tell you that in order to do good quality woodworking products, that you have to buy hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of tools. No, they want you to think that you can make anything with a jigsaw and a circular saw, and and that you don't have to put any money, you don't have to put any effort into anything, and you'll make a fortune, right? Because that's what people want to hear, right? That's what the public wants to hear. That's what nobody wants to work for their living anymore. They want it handed to them on a silver platter, right? And that's just what this world has become. It's what this world is about now. Like it or love it, hate it, doesn't matter. That's what it is. And so in order to get you to click on that video, they have to create a hook, right? And the hook is what's going to grab your attention. And that 1 second that you see their video, what's going to grab your attention and make you jump on that particular video over the hundreds of thousands of other videos out there that you could rather be watching, right? What's going to get them that next click that equates to that next penny that that'll get them boosted up ahead so that they can get, you know, $500, $1,000, $200, $10,000, or who can get them that next high dollar sponsor that's going to shoot them, you know, some really expensive equipment that they really can't afford to buy on their own. That's what it's all about. So they're going to put a hook out there, and that hook is going to be like, you know, this is my most hated one, right? I can't make these fast enough, right? Or the one that said 175% profit, right? Or was it 175% or was it 175,000%? Anyway, whatever it was fucking ridiculous. And then you watch the video and they tell you to go down to Lowe's or Home Depot or Menards, depending on where you live at in the United States. And what you're going to do is you're going to buy a 4x4, which is actually a 3.5 by 3.5, 8 foot long, and you're going to cut it into 1/4 inch slices, right? So you're going to take this pine 4x4, cut it into 1/4 inch slices, put 4 of them 1/4 inch slices together and sell them for $25, right? And so you're going to be able to get, you know, 30, 40 sets of these 4-piece slices out of this 4x4, and you're gonna just make a fortune selling these coasters. And it all looks good, right? Everybody's like, wow, I can do that, man. I mean, there's nothing to that, man. I can do that. You know, you grab a 4x4, you cut it down into 1/4 inch slices, you slap a little bit of sanding on it, throw a finish on it, and boom, you're a millionaire, right? Can't make them fast enough, man. Can't keep them in stock. You know, I mean, these sell out like hotcakes. And so you go down and you buy 2 or 3 4x4s, thinking, well, if I can get that many out of one, then if I buy 4, I can get even more. And you cut them all up and you send them out there, and nobody buys that shit. Or if they do, you know, they're just buying it because they're having pity on you, right? Nobody's buying that shit. And they tell you to go out and you know, it's the same story. You know, you go down, you buy a 2x4, you know, buy a bunch of 2x4s, and you're going to make a coffee table out of a bunch of 2x4s. Only most people aren't buying 2x4s or coffee tables made out of 2x4s. They're just not. Or you go down and you're like, yeah, I can make these planters out of fence pickets, right? I can just go down and buy a bunch of cedar fence pickets, and I can make all these outdoor raised bed planters and sell them for thousands, man. I can make thousands of dollars every spring. Except that every woodworker or every aspiring woodworker in the damn nation is trying to do the same thing, and you'll look on Facebook Marketplace and you got 30 people within a 20-mile radius of you all doing the same thing, and nobody's selling shit because most people aren't buying that stuff. Now, does that mean nobody's going to buy it? Sure, somebody's going to buy it. You know, you can sell it here and there, but no, people aren't buying that. They're not buying enough of it for you to justify the amount of money that you're spending making it, the amount of time that you're putting into it. When it comes back to your rate of return on your investment, you're not getting a return. You're just going broke. You're going broke making a bunch of stuff that nobody cares about because you bought into the hype. The easier it is to build, the cheaper it is to build, the less you're going to make for it, and the less chance you'll actually have of selling it. Because here's one thing that I've learned about being in business as long as I've been in business, and as many markets as my wife and I have done, one of the biggest lessons that I have learned is that customers are very discerning about what they spend money on. They are not stupid. Customers want value, right? They don't want the latest gimmick. They want value. They don't want something made out of construction lumber. They want value. I'll say that occasionally I build things with construction lumber. Occasionally I do, right? I'm not saying that it can't be done. But I'm saying that you have to be selective about what you build, when you build it, how you build it, because people aren't generally buying that. If you can take that construction lumber and you can turn it into something really unique, that's something different than what other people have seen before, then you may very well be able to sell it. And you might be able to make a business doing it. I happen to know somebody that does these round signs, right? And they use construction lumber for it. They go down and they buy 2x6s, and they resaw those 2x6s down into 3/4 inch planks, and they take those 3/4 inch planks and they glue them together, and they make big round signs out of them. And they use their Cricut machine to cut decals out of material to make little sayings and stuff on those signs, and they glue them together and they sell them for $50 to $60 a piece, and they sell a lot of them. They do quite well with it. But the majority of people are not buying the junk that these guys on YouTube are selling. They're not doing it. The biggest advantage to that stuff that these people are spouting out as I can't make these things fast enough, or these things sell like hotcakes, or guaranteed to sell at your next market. You know, any title like that, it's a hook, right? The title's there to get you to watch the video, because if you watch the video, they get paid. Those guys are not, I'm going to say most of those guys are not selling their products. Regardless of what they may tell you on YouTube, they're not selling their products. Now, certainly not all of them. I know some of them are definitely selling products, but most of them are not. Most of them are just selling videos. So think about this for a second. If you're a woodworker and you have any experience doing woodwork, how long does it take you to make a good quality product? From the time you go down to the store to buy the material, to the time you get home, time you set up, time you get everything cut to size, get everything glued up, let that glue dry, put a finish on it, get it all fucking prettied up and ready to go up for sale. How long does that take you? The whole process, not just the actual cutting time, not just, the actual glue time, but the whole process. How long does it take you? Even for a simple project, you still have to wait for glue to dry, right? So no matter what, you still have a lot of time invested in it. How long does it take you to make it? And if you're selling something for $15, $20, $25, $40, $50, how many of those items do you have to make in order to qualify as something I cannot possibly make fast enough, right? How many items would you say that person is selling, right? If I can't make it fast enough, right? And I can make one per hour. Let's just say one per hour. I can make one per hour. We'll be conservative with it. And we'll assume that you have a Home Depot or Lowe's, an Ace Hardware, Menards or something in close proximity to your house. So, because we do have to include the drive time and material purchase time in all that. Let's just say that, for me, it takes me about 20 minutes to get to Home Depot or Lowe's from my house. That's 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. That's 40 minutes right there. And then it takes me an hour to build it. All right, so I have an hour and 40 minutes. We'll call it 2 hours, right? We'll call it 2 hours to build something. And let's say that I have a 8-hour period of time in a day to make that. I could make 6 of these a day, right? So I could make 6 of these a day, and let's say that I'm going to make, we'll just say $45 off of each item, right? So I'm making, what is that? $90, $180, $270 a day making these items, right? How many of those does it take before I can literally say, I can't make these fast enough? Now, the next question to that, once you've thought about that, so let's throw making a YouTube video in there on top of that. I'm going to make a YouTube video in there where I teach you how to make this, because I can't make it fast enough, so I might as well share it with you, right? If I can't make it fast enough, then I wouldn't think of keeping that business all to myself and coming out with a way to make it faster, because that would make me more money, right? That doesn't make sense, because if I can't make it fast enough, then instead of scaling my business up so that I can make more money, I just send that information out to you for free so that you can make that money, so I don't have to make them as fast, right? Because you'll fill that gap in and you'll make them for me. But I won't make anything off of that. You'll make the money off of it, right? Because I'm just that kind of a generous guy. When does the idiocy of that set in? Right? When does the idiocy of that set in? If I have a product that I can't make fast enough, then I'm going to scale my business so that I can make it faster, which means I'm going to use the money that I make making that product into buying something so that I can make that product faster, or hiring somebody to help me make it faster so that I can sell more, so that I can make more money, so that I can buy more tools, so that I can scale my business more, so that I can get a bigger building to work out of, so that I can hire more staff, so that I can make more, right? I'm not going to take that money-making object that makes so much money and give it out to you for free so that you can make all the money. And then let's compound that by, we're going to say 25,000 views, right? You have 25,000 views on that video. So you have 25,000 more people who are presumably going to jump in there and try to make this item that you just cannot possibly make fast enough. When does it start? When does it start making sense? So anytime that you see one of those videos that says something to that effect, it's a hook to get you to watch so that they can make money, because they're not selling shit. And, you can argue with me all you want. You can say something, you can say, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And maybe I don't. Maybe there is somebody out there that can't honestly make those fast enough. Maybe they're making $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year making this stuff out of construction lumber, using fucking drywall screws to put it all together, or a brad nail, right? All this stuff that they can't make fast enough is all put together with brad nails. You ever put anything together with a brad nailer? I do. I use a brad nailer every now and again. Very rare for me to use a brad nailer, but I use it every now and again, right? Because I need to hold something in place long enough for glue to dry. But I don't like using a brad nailer, because no matter how much you try to cover up the brad nail, you can always see the damn brad nail. And I don't like it. I don't like it in my project. I think it looks cheap. But one thing is guaranteed, and that is that generally speaking, you use a brad nailer to put butt joints together, and butt joints are the absolute weakest joinery in woodworking. And so when you take butt joints and put them together and use a brad nailer to hold them in place, you're not adding any strength, right? So whatever you're making is weak as hell. Come up with a better joinery method, right? And it doesn't take long for somebody to realize how weak that stuff is. They go and they buy that stuff from you. It falls apart fucking 2 weeks later. Right? And they're not going to be happy. They're not going to come back and buy another one. Right? Why would I come back and buy another one? So, I don't know. Somewhere common sense left the building. Somewhere people forgot the ability to think. You want to make it as a woodworker, be unique. There are people out there that say you can't scale a woodworking business unless you make furniture. You got to make cabinets. You got to make tables, right? You got to make that high dollar item, because, I can go out and I can make $50 items all day long, but how many $50 items do I need to make in order to equal what I could make from one table, right? How many woodworking $50 smalls do I need to go out there and make before I can equal the amount that I could make off of a $1,500, $2,500 table? If all I did was dining tables, I could probably make $2,500 off a table, and then projecting that, if I could get 5 sales a month, I could I could make $10,000 a month making dining room tables, and it didn't take a lot of time to make a dining table, right? You can make a dining table in a week, less than a week, really. You know, I mean, you could probably make a dining table if you had the whole day to work on it. You could probably make a dining table in a day, 2-3 days, maybe 2-3 days, right? So why don't I just go and I make dining room tables? Well, the answer to that is that there's only so many people that are going to buy a dining room table, right? Most people aren't buying dining room tables. And yeah, if you could get 5 sales a month selling dining room tables, you could probably make $10,000 a month doing it. And with that, it's an easy way to scale a business. You can quickly come up with the income that you need. But where's your customer base, right? Where are you going to get 5 sales every month? And what happens if you don't get those 5 sales every month, right? That's the next question. Has anybody gone out and priced what it costs to run a commercial business? Commercial property in my area runs between $10 on the very, very low end, right? You're not going to find a very good building at $10, but $10 to $15 or even up to $18 per square foot per year. For a building big enough to have a storefront, a display area, and a workshop, you're going to be talking about somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 a month just in building rent. That's just the rent. That doesn't cover insurance. It doesn't cover equipment costs. Doesn't cover electricity. Doesn't cover payroll. Doesn't cover anything like that, right? So at what point are you going to scale that business making tables? And what happens if you don't get get an order for a table for 2-3 months? Same thing goes with people who make smalls, right? People who make smalls, and they're selling these smalls, the amount of money that you have to sell, the amount of product that you have to sell at a $30, $40, $50, $75 price point doesn't justify the cost for scaling your business. So how are you going to get ahead? By making things that are made out of, honestly, garbage lumber, right? It's made out of garbage lumber, and it's something that's thrown out on the internet for free for thousands and thousands of people to make, that's unproven whether or not the shit even sells, right? Just because this YouTube guy that has a little bit of charisma jumps out there and says, I can't make these fast enough, man, I can't keep them in stock, I sell out. You jump on the bandwagon without giving it a bit of thought. And then we get on Facebook on some of these woodworking groups, and we have the question, does anybody even make money doing these woodworking projects? And the answer to that is no. No, it's not. Does that mean you can't make money woodworking? No, that's not what I'm saying. You can absolutely make money woodworking. We've done very well at it. We just don't make those projects. So anyway, agree with me if you want, disagree with me if you want. Our video's gone on to 33 minutes, so I've already lost most everybody. I highly doubt anybody's going to make it to this point. If you did make it to this point, just drop a comment down there for me, right? So maybe I can beat this algorithm, right? Drop a comment down there for me and say, hey, I made it to that point. If you agree with me, tell me. If you don't agree with me, tell me, right? Because even negative comments get views, right? I don't get paid for YouTube. My channel is monetized, but I don't make enough money to get any money out of it. I've never received a penny. And one thing is for sure, and that's that I will always flat out tell the truth, right? I'm not going to fucking fill you full of a bunch of bullshit to get views. If I can't get views and you'd rather watch them guys that, throw out that stupid stuff on the internet and say that they make a fortune doing something that they've never sold in their life, then more power to you. Me, I'm going to tell you the truth. And along the way, I may even share some insight on how you can possibly make a little bit of money doing this, and how you can do some of the things that are a little bit more complicated than using a jigsaw and a circular saw. We'll catch you guys later. Y'all take care. Peace out.